Hey guys, Mr. Wah here. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to just do a couple videos for you as we're getting close to the summative. Make sure you have everything that you need to be successful. And so I'm going to go through this worksheet. You don't have to listen to all of it, but I'm going to go through every question, explain how to do it, and hopefully that will help a little bit. So let's start with the first one. So we have this table. It shows the debt, which is money owed, of the three most populous states and the three least populous states. So that's population, most, and these would be the least populous. And this is how much each of those states owes. And sorry, this is U.S.-based, but we're using a U.S.-based curriculum. I do have some Peruvian numbers, which are pretty interesting. Question 1A says, what is the sum of the debts of the three most populous states? Express all work and answers in scientific notation. So I'm going to look at these three first, the debts of these three, because they're the most populous. And the first thing I'm going to do is change it to scientific notation. So I'm going to just rewrite debt here as 4.07 times 10 to the 11th. 3.37 times 10 to the 11th, and 2.76 times 10 to the 11th. If you forget how to do that, remember the lead factor, the first factor here, has to be between 1 and 10. So I put my decimal in between there to make it 1 and 10. And then all I do is count the number of places from the decimal to the end, and it's 11 places, and that becomes my exponent. And when you add or subtract in scientific notation, you need to have the power of 10 the same magnitude. These are the same magnitude, so I'm just going to keep it. I don't do anything with it yet. I'm just going to keep it. And then I just add my lead factors together. 7 and 7 is 14 plus 6. 14 plus 6 is 20. I'm going to carry my little 2. 2 and 3 is 5 plus 7 is 12. I'm going to carry that 1. And I have 1 and 4 is 5, and 3 is 8, and 2 is 10. So now I have this. And this is all for number 1. I don't have a lot of room here, so I'm going to put it here. So what I get is 10.20 times 10 to the 11th. This isn't scientific notation because this number, my lead factor, is too big, right? So I'm going to fix that by making the lead factor between 1 and 10, by moving the decimal. And because I made this number smaller, the lead factor smaller, my exponent becomes bigger. Because what I did was 10.2 divided by 10 to give me 1.102. And to make those numbers equal, I got to multiply by another group of 10. And then I'm going to use an answer statement. The sum of the debts. It's always good to have an answer statement, is 1.02 times 10 to the 12th power dollars. Okay? You do the exact same thing for the least populous. So for these three, we'll do the exact same thing for number 2. And I'm going to do it off to the side. This will be 4 times 10 to the 9th. 4 times 10 to the 9th. And 2 times 10 to the 9th. 10 to the 9th is my power of 10. 4 and 4 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So I have 10 times 10 to the 9th. Well, 10 times 10 to the 9th doesn't work for scientific notation because this is too big. It has to be less than 10. So I can change it to 1 times 10 to the 10th power. So my answer statement, the three least populous states owe a combined 1 times 10 to the 10th power dollars. Okay, so that's it for adding in scientific notation. Remember, key is the exponent has to be the same. Let's move up a little bit. Now it says how much larger, this is a little confusing, how much larger is the combined debt of the three most popular states than that of the three least populous states? express your answer in scientific notation. Now, it doesn't say how many times larger, just how much. And so since it's just how much, all I need to do is take that number and I'm going to subtract 1 times 10 to the 10th power. And remember in the last problem I said these have to be the same. They're not here. So I'm going to convert. I'm going to do a little converting. I'm going back to black. And to make this, made a little mistake. So I'm going to change 1.02 times 10 to the 12th to be 10 to the 10th. And this is really 10 to the 10th times 10 to the 2nd is 10 to the 12th. And 10 to the 2nd is really 100. So I do 100 times 1.02 gives me 102. And I can get rid of that times 10 to the 10th. And now I have what I want. I have my same power of 10, and I can subtract. I keep the power of 10, I subtract, and all is good except not scientific notation. To make it scientific notation, I move my decimal back 2 places. I got 1.01 times 10 to the 12th. Because I moved it back 2 places, I increased that by 12. So my answer statement, the most populous state's debt is 1.01 times 10 to the 12th times greater than the least. All right. So far, so good. Hopefully that helped a little bit. Now, I'm not going to do 2A and B because it's the same, except in these you're doing the populations. Instead of debt, you're doing population. However, I am going to... I'm not going to. So I'm not going to do those. Actually, I will. I'll do it for you guys. I'm in no rush. You can skip it if you don't want to listen. It's no big deal. So now I need to take the populations and add them together. So this gives me 3.8. I'm going to shrink a little bit so I can see it. So I have 3.8 times 10 to the 7th, 1.9 times 10 to the 7th, and 2.6 times 10 to the 7th. I have the same power of 10, so I get to keep it. Then I add the lead factors. 8, 9 is 17, and 6 is 23. 2 and 3 is 5, and 1 is 6. 8.3 times 10 to the 7th. 8.3 times 10 to the 7th is the population of the most populous. And then the least populous, I take these 3, and I'm going to change it to scientific notation over here. So here's letter B off to the side. And I have 6.9 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have 6.26. Line up the decimal, times 10 to the 5, and 5.76 times 10 to the 5th. 10 to the 5th is the same for all of them. I keep it. I add my lead factors. There's a little 0 placeholder, so that's 12, 10, and 9 is 19, 12, 17, and this is 18.92 times 10 to the 5th. I got to change it back to scientific notation. 1.892 times 10 to the 6th power is the total population of the least populous. Okay? Now this C is a little bit different than what we've done in the other two. What C is asking